Well, it's definitely gorgeous country. I didn't realize it was this big. Lots of hiding places for whatever.
Yeah, we've got great game in here. It's just so diverse. And
now I bet you've got chukars here, huns.
Chukars, huns, pheasants, quail, all wild populations.
Yeah. What's reasonable? What do you call a good buck for this country?
You know, to be honest, what we focus on a lot here is the ethics and the experience. And we get new hunters out here, and Washington has a 3-point minimum. And we try for nice animals, but we're happy with getting some good meat. And the animals are in super good condition on this ranch with all the wheat around here. And
plenty to eat up here. Well, listen, that suits me just fine because I've only got 2 days to hunt.
What we've done on this ranch is keep the livestock completely off of this range for over 15 years. And we're managing it specifically for wildlife, particularly deer and upland birds up here. It's a hunter's paradise. It's a great place to come and spend some time hunting and hanging out with friends and seeing how the prairie used to look before man got in here. All right, let's head down here.
Okay. I can't believe you have any whitetail in this country, my God. You sure we're in the right state?
Yeah, they like it in here. And there's some pretty good little draws down here. And we'll see them bedded in here.
As we were glassing and easing up and down and over these ravines and looking into them, Brad, of course, had some pockets where in the past he's usually seen deer. So he would say, now, here comes a good one. There's a deep ravine here with a lot of brush in it. We have to be careful. There are usually deer in here. Oh my God, I just found the mother lode. Holy mackerel. Oh, Brad. God. I'll tell you what we've got here. Mixed mule deer and whitetails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 mixed herd feeding together in that field. Oh, I've never seen whitetails mixed in with mule deer that tightly. And he was right. We hit one that was pretty much spectacular. It had a lot of deer in it. Most of them we couldn't see. 1 whitetail, 2 whitetails. 3, 4 or 5 whitetails in with that bunch, the best I can tell right now. That's pretty wild. 8, 9, 10. Oh, there are a bunch more popped out over there. Now there's like a dozen. There really are whitetail here, Brad. I'm impressed. So what happens here at Brad's place is that the deer spend their dining hours up on those wheat fields. Once the sun comes up and they start to feel a little exposed, they want to get back into the cover. They're going into the ravines and the draws. Now, the critical move that you have to make in a situation like this is to get there early and find those deer while they're still up. Because once they bed, it is really tough to see them. I thought you were pulling my leg big time. Wow.
Well, we spray painted the tails on a few muleys just in case, but let's go on down here a little bit.
Keep this up. Business.
With some pre-hunt glassing under their belt, Ron and Brad hit the hills first thing, in hopes of catching a whopper whitetail on his way from breakfast back to bed.
Let's go look around that corner. Yeah. That looks deery to me. So we were out at the crack of dawn, watching the fields, watching those ravines, but it's tough because the land rolls so much that you can't get high enough to see into those fields and then over the edge down into those thickets. You just don't know where to go. Should you stay down low? Should you get up high? And if you're up high in that wheat field and you can see for a mile, you might see a deer, but then it's going to see you because there is absolutely nothing to hide behind. Appear to be does and fawns, although I think there's a buck out there. If you're in that fence corner, go 1, 2 dark posts up from the bottom, and then 10 yards into the darker brown grass. And you'll see the white antlers sticking up, and sometimes you'll notice his dark V shape of his ears. I saw one buck lying up near the top of this ravine above the brush in the grass with a doe. Rutting season's coming up. They're starting to get a little bit interested in those does. Does up. Here they go. They're leaving. No questions to be answered now. He's leaving.
Maybe he's gonna let her go.
Yeah, he's that what they want. Just go lay down again.
Nice little solid 4x.
Got about pretty good crosswind to factor in on this deal, so we're looking at about 12 inches of drift at 400 yards.
Stuff pretty easy to knock 100 off.
Yeah, it's getting way too windy for a long shot.
This game rolled around on him while he's looking the other way.
So we eased down a fence line, stalking closer to these animals. It's so open here, the only cover is this fence line. Now you might think a barbed wire fence is cover. Well, it's not a lot, but just think about it. If you get in line with that fence and the deer are straight in front of you, you just look like another fence post. That's him, isn't it? Yeah. What's he look like? It's 330 yards. So we just went very slowly, cut that distance down to 300 yards. And then we had our opportunity. He keeps looking down there like there's something else. God, I'd like to see that.
You see his rack pretty good there.
Yeah, he's not quite out to his ear tips the way it looks. The problem was, it was a young deer. I know what you're doing, don't even try it. He's gonna lay down. Yeah. Well, we've got a couple of bucks bedded up here, but this one's pretty small. We thought we saw a bigger one in there, but we can't find him now. So I don't know if he's still bedded or if he sneaked out the bottom while we were moving into position. But it's hotter than blazes on this open hillside. So I'm thinking, discretion being the better part of valor, we should back out of here and then come back this evening when they become active. It being our first day, I said, no, let's just keep looking for something bigger. So we backed out of there, kept that place in the back of our minds, and we knew if we needed to, we could come back.
Yeah, it's a real handsome buck, but he's not quite what we're looking for. Definitely could be a couple more down there in the bottom, so I think that's a good plan. Let's get packed out of here, quiet like, and then we'll come back about 4 o'clock.
So after passing up an iffy buck earlier in the day, Ron and Brad head back out to see what the evening brings.
I saw something up there. I think it was a... Yeah. Look at there, Brad. See that?
Oh, yeah.
It just went over the top. When we decided that draw in which we'd seen most of the deer was probably a good spot to check again, we went back there hoping to intercept deer coming off the wheat fields. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Hey, you might want to look at this, Brad. I think we got 3 of them coming off the wheat field right toward us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See them out there?
Yeah, I see him.
Are they bucks? They look like bucks.
All 3 bucks.
They're coming in here. Let's keep our eye on those guys.
They're taking off. They're running across there.
Where are they running from? What the heck? They were coming right at us. Oh, there's a coyote. Sure enough. See that coyote?
Yeah, he's chasing them, dang it.
Yeah, that happens so often. Where do you think they're going to go? Over the hill right there.
Looks like they're going out of sight right over the edge there.
So we sat tight. Some does walk through. We had some mule deer come through and bounce around. So we were being entertained. We were still waiting for a buck. And sure enough, around that corner, here comes a deer. What's he look like? He's pretty good, doesn't he? 4x5? 5x5. Yeah, 328 yards. We watched for a while and decided there's nothing bigger moving around. It's getting late in the hunt. We probably want to take this deer. It's probably the best one we've seen, a 5x5. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Good. Watch the shot. Let me know where I hit him.
Nice shot.
Yeah, go down, go down. Down the hill it comes, dashing down on a run, gets down into the thickets, right in that brush. Yeah, there we go.
Awesome.
Down. Another long wait, partner.
Good shot.
The hunt is now over, but the work is really going to begin because we are down in an absolute hellhole. It is so steep and full of brush. I thought he rolled right down in here someplace, Brad, but it's pretty thick.
Here he is, right here, Ron.
I'm coming. Man, it's steep and nasty down here. Oh yeah, all right. Oh, he fell about as far to the bottom as the bottom gets.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Yeah, he was a tough one. Living in this dried up country, you've got to be tough. Man, I've seen whitetails in the nuttiest country, you know. And you hunt those cows whitetail down in the desert mountains and you, okay, fine. But when you get up north, you expect them to be in the trees and the wet stuff. Just never underestimate the good old versatile whitetail. Now comes the fun part.
Yeah.
This is where I get to see how strong my guide is. I couldn't believe it. Brad is an absolute animal. He gets a hold of that deer and he starts dragging it through brush that I couldn't even see through. I wanted to attack it with a machete before we moved the deer through there, but he just plowed through it, busting brush. So I sucked it up and joined him. This ain't bad. It's terrible, but it's not bad. And we muscled that deer out of that area. Then we were able to drive the ram around the highway and come into that farm and pick the deer up, take him back to camp.
He said, hey man, you know, there's more to hunting than them antlers.
What?
We want to keep this land as natural as possible, and it's just a very special, almost sacred canyon to us. We've been here for 15 years and just love it, and we don't want to see it change. We want to keep it going more and more back to a more natural state and let the wildlife develop on it.
Said, Mr. Johnson, what you got here is a bad case of the baby buck blues.